third Book of Life review. Not my third Book of Life review. My third live Book of Life review. The Book of Life is a set of old magazines in 105 weekly parts, published from 1969 to 1970. And on the front cover of this, we see, "My teacher has a bunion and a face like a pickled onion, but she's ever so nice." Well, this is one of the things I'm donating to the Erdway charity shop on the last day of this month, because it's the 10th anniversary. I'm donating a lot of things that are related to her life in some way or another, in memory of her, because it's the 10th anniversary of her death. And she was a teacher. Like the Marshall Cavendish Encyclopedia of the Human Mind and Body. Right, these books of life magazines, I think, I assume, I don't know if they're definite, but I assume they all have the same number of articles in them. They have different articles which are all under different the topics. There's the human mind, and there's an article called Rite and Ritual, topic called Living Body. There's an article called Keeping Out of Trouble. So topic called Life. So what would I call it? A topic or subject matter. The subject matter is Life Together, and the teachers and the taught. Subject matter of this is the child and his world, and the article is called Health to 12 Years. Subject matter of that is Medicine of Man, and the article is called Doctor for the Old. And the last article in it comes onto the subject matter of Enemies of Man, and it's called Between Cancer and Capricorn. Let's have a read of what these articles contain. Rite and Ritual, from primitive sun worship to the intricate theologies of modern Christianity. Man serves his gods. In their names, he has devoted himself to the love of mankind or to the destruction of the infidel. Why does man need religions? Can religious experience be explained psychologically? Keeping out of trouble. Swallow a crumb down the wrong way, and you'll cough. Touch a hot sauce pan, and your hand will jerk away. These are reflex reactions, ways in which the body reacts with startling speed to avoid injury. How do these mechanisms work without involving the brain? Can doctors use them to diagnose disease? The teachers and the taught. Learning by heart is a thing of the past. For centuries, teachers have worked to pass on their knowledge to children, but now the emphasis is changing. What are the new methods teachers are evolving to develop a child's potential and deal with his problems? What effect will the new education have on society? Health to 12 years. Around the age of 12, a child gains new strength and health with this physical transformation of puberty. This article investigates the particular difficulties that face children before this time, from measles to bedwetting. What symptoms should parents watch out for during this period? Last but not least, Doctor for the Old. Confused and hard of hearing, the old person may well expect to spend his last years care for in the home. But now a new emphasis is appearing in geriatric medicine. Oh, it's not last one. Many old people can be taught to come to terms with their infirmities and do much to help themselves. How will this affect aging? Yeah, this is last but not least, here. Enemies of man, between Cancer and Capricorn. A steaming jungle, buzzing with poison-laden insects to many. Tropical diseases are just reward for foolhardy explorers who brave such conditions. In fact, to drink water in many warmer parts of the world is to risk a serious infection. Why are temperate zones so much healthier than the tropics? Right. Right, here's the first article. Human mind, rite and ritual. This is all about religion through the ages. Innumerable cults and religions bear witness to a universal concern with the holy. Can we explain our basic need for faith in psychological terms? An ancient man living in tribal society regarded nothing as profane. Everything to him was sacred. Whether he was ploughing, reaping, or fishing, whether he hunted, fought, or engaged in sexual activity, his action was imbued with a sense of that which can best be described as holy. This sacred significance given to everything was also manifested in his ritual, which was a repetition of what his gods did at the beginning of time, and the religious calendars of both archaic and modern man also commemorate within a year all that took place at the creation. Religion, whether in our own time or in the past, appears in innumerable guises and may be said to serve several functions. It holds people together socially as a coherent group with a common purpose, often for worship and the celebration of sacred rites, and according to its critics, it also serves a political and economic function, ensuring that the masses are kept in relative ignorance and subjection by priestly elite. Right, what are they, Dunce's caps or something? They're like, they're like them things that you used to see the Pet Shop Boys wearing on the Reds, on top of the pops, aren't they? Religious belief has often fostered high ethical standards, but many horrors too have been perpetrated in the name of man's gods. In the Middle Ages, a tribunal known as the Inquisition above, that's where they're all wearing what looks like Dulce's caps on their head, known as the Inquisition, functioned with the express purpose of punishing those accused of witchcraft. Today, as a member of the Ku Klux Klan, wears a uniform which is reminiscent of that of the early Inquisitors. You see him there, look. Ku Klux Klan boy. That's diagram there of some sort of religious artifact. Putin. Don't know what Putin's got to do with it. primitive man and his religious symbols. Representations of fertility, such as the model of the womb during pregnancy, have been objects of worship for centuries. Above, some tribes would also record the skull of an ancestor, supernatural powers, revering it as a deity. Thanks offerings were given to such figures as the Indian tree goddess. Right, well, the swan mask below was worn by Eskimo hunters during their ritual spring dance. Right. Religious rites today and yesterday. The phallic shape of one of the most famous places of Hindu worship, the Lingajara temple at Bhubaneswar, India, celebrates the role fertility plays in many religions. Members of the priestly Druid cult who still worship ancient gods congregate right at Stonehenge in Britain. See, it's that's the Hindu worship thing, and that's the that's the Stonehenge one there. I don't know what that one is. It'll explain on the previous page what it is. That's Stonehenge there. I don't know what that one is there, but it'll explain on the previous page what it is. Members of the priestly Druid cult who still worship ancient gods congregate right at Stonehenge in Britain. They hold sacred the hour of midnight, the oak tree and the mistletoe plant. Far right, on the island of Bali, the body of a Hindu priest is cremated in a carved wooden bull vehicle of the god Shiva. In Oxford Street, London, below right, members of the Radha Krishna temple chant their incantation, Hare Krishna. Living body, keeping out of trouble. Day and night, a team of nerves and muscles is on the alert to save the body from injury, though reflex actions, their job is done before you realise it. Above, the protection given by a reflex acts in an instant removing part of the body from danger, even before the person is aware that the danger exists. But for a split but the split-second reflex action, this child would have suffered a very serious injury. Spinal nerves carry the messages that cause reflex actions, and each part of the body is supplied from a specific spinal nerve. The cervical nerves are labelled C, the thoracic nerves TH, the lumbar nerves, L, and the sacral nerves, S. Right, there's a diagram of a nervous system there. The cervical, it explains what the. I'll just explain what the various numbers and letters are supposed to represent. Nerves in the back there. I'm not going to show. I'm just going to. I'm not going to present too much of this magazine because if I show too much of it, there won't be any point in anybody pointing on buying one of these magazines off eBay where you can get them from. Right. The teachers and the taught. This goes through the various stages of a child's education. Kindergarten signifies a child's first break with its mother and home. Bound to feel lost at first, you will quickly adopt a warm and comforting teacher as a substitute mother figure. Parents, too, like to think of the teacher as someone kind and reliable to whom they can entrust their child. No, I'm not. That's a ridiculous thing to say. To the under 10s, teacher is often someone special and clever, a paragon of knowledge in their eyes. She introduces them to subjects that they are only too eager to learn. At this age, the necessity of a mother figure has dwindled, and the children now view the teacher more as a friend, all and keen to get into her good books. See, that's the picture that we saw on the front cover before in that. This is where we get to the naughty stages here. Rebelling against school starts in the early teens. And usually the individual teacher has to bear the brunt of the trouble. To cope with rebellious pupils, he often has to adopt a tough line. In the eyes of the children, he becomes a strict disciplinarian and a potential enemy, not someone to trust. Adolescence generally brings a change of attitude. Pupils sometimes develop crushes on teachers of the opposite sex, and this can lead to difficulties. The teacher becomes the subject of hero worship, confronted with blushing pupils whenever he addresses them. He needs tact to keep their minds on schoolwork. The stigma attached to the teacher by school children completely disappears at the college or university stage. On the whole, students treat tutors and lecturers with respect, and rather than adopting strict teacher-pupil relationships, they tend to become friends. The result generally is a good atmosphere for working. Nothing peculiar about me, mate. Right, I'm only doing a magazine review. I don't know what you think is peculiar about that. That we've got health. The child in his world, health to 12 years. Healthy children may have many little illnesses. It is just a part of growing Are there any serious dangers among the numerous infections that they face? A thirsty child doesn't read the label. Medicines, cleaners and garden products should be locked up out of harm's way. Accidents cause the majority of deaths among children. In this poster, the messages aimed at parents their care and foresight could have avoided a tragedy. There's a quick guide to children's illnesses. There's a Doctor for the Old, which comes under the subject matter of medicine of man. More than any other kind of doctor, a geriatrician has to treat the whole man and not just a part. His elderly patient may have. No, it's called a magazine called Book of Life. His elderly patient may have many different complaints. I'll show what it is. It's a magazine called The Book of Life. It was published in 105 weekly parts. This is part 98. So it's not Reader's Digest. Just show you a few. Just briefly go through show you a few of the photos in it. It's quite easy to obtain these magazines from eBay. We used to have them in our house when I was a kid, but because my dad got them when I was a baby. I think he must have got them from W.H. Smith, I think. Or wherever you could get them from. And we always had them in the house when I was a kid, but I don't know what happened to them all. I sent off for the entire collection of them from eBay. Look, see. You think you've got a few of them? Huh? Between enemies of man, between Cancer and Capricorn. In the tropics, disease is rampant. Infections, banished from more temperate zones, whole sway and quite minor scratches can quickly turn to major illness. Adult male and female. Yeah. You probably. They were published in 105 weekly parts from 1969 to 1970. But Marshall Cavendish, yes, that's the one. They're the ones. Published by Marshall Cavendish. Have you got this copy of it? You got this one, do you think? Adult male and female. It shows like a cycle of eggs penetrate but bladder wall into urine. Urine evacuated. Oh, you only have the first three issues. Well, this is issue now. It's quite interesting to see for you to see this one, isn't it? Urine evacuated into river. Eggs hatch out into Myrissidia. Myrissidia penetrate freshwater snails. Develops a cyst in snail's bladder. See, it shows like a cycle of disease, like about how diseases flourish. No, I can't pronounce that word. Infestation with blood flukes affects 200 million people. The adults lay eggs in the bladder, which burrow through the flesh before being excreted. If sewage flows into fresh water without being treated, the second stage of multiplication takes place in a snail, and finally the larvae invade anybody who uses the water for washing, drinking, or just plain pleasure. All the tropical diseases which flourish in the world today fall into two main groups. What one was previously worldwide in distribution but has been gradually reduced to negligible proportions or even completely eliminated in the comparatively rich and technologically advanced countries of the temperate zones. The second group has always required a relatively hot climate for its existence, and although members of this group occasionally occur in temperate regions during periods of climatic extreme, they retreat rapidly to the permanently hot tropical areas as soon as the usual weather conditions return to normal. Tropical diseases are, generally speaking, infections. There are a few forms of degenerative disease, several special types of cancer, and one or two disorders of the endocrine glands and of digestion and metabolism, which are essentially tropical in their occurrence, but they lose significance beside the great tropical infections. This group of diseases is still responsible for an appalling amount of suffering and premature death in the world, and that is in large measure the cause of the persistent poverty and economic backwardness of so much of the tropics. All the common classes of organisms that affect man are represented amongst the tropical diseases: yellow fever, dengue, and smallpox are virus infections. Cholera, plague, and yaws are caused by bacteria. Malaria, sleeping sickness, leishmaniasis, that's it, pronounced it right, and Chagas disease are due to the single-celled animals called protozoa. The whatever fever and African ticks typhus are caused by ricket. Is it pronounced dengue, is it? Ah, thanks. Yeah. You put me right about something there, haven't you? It's pronounced dengue. Anyway, I don't need to read all the contents of these magazines, do I? I could just show the illustrations in them. You don't have to. There's no point in reviewing a magazine by reading its entire contents out aloud. Well, there won't be any point in anyone sending off for them off eBay where you can get them from. It's like a weekly encyclopedia on the back pages of every week's. Right. In the tropics, an insect bite can become a festering sore. The sore may... Dengue. Dengue, right. I get the picture. In the tropics, yeah. There's the illustrations there. Let's see what it says about them. In the tropics, an insect bite can become a festering sore. The sore may turn to an ulcer, and the ulcer can take months to heal. Parasitic worms are the largest organisms that can exist in the human body. A guinea worm has bored through the roof of its sufferer's mouth. The hooks on the head of a tapeworm. Such a worm could grow to a length of 30 feet, enable it to grasp the walls of the intestine when it ingests the host's own nutritional intake. Right. I missed that little illustration out there. Right, so that's basically I've reviewed the I've reviewed the entire copy of this magazine from the front cover to the back. There's a back cover there. As I said, there's like a weekly encyclopedia on the last 2 pages of each copy of these magazines. But this is this is part 98. But it is Marshall Cavendish, the Marshall Cavendish Encyclopedia of the Human Mind and Body. I suppose at the end of the day, the human mind and body has got a lot to answer for, hasn't it? But well, I think as a species, we're not all that bad on the whole, are we? We're not like the Daleks. Exterminate! Exterminate! We're not like the demons either. We're not as bad as what they are. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow with. I'm not sure what I'm going to post tomorrow, but I'll try and think of something. So this is where the story ends for today.